After the death of Eric and Sharon's mother, they learned that their mother had left everything to Sharon and not Eric. However, after Eric investigated a little further, the truth of their mother's will would leave them both understanding a little more about sibling rivalry. Eric was utterly devastated when he learned of his mother's death. He worked as a real estate developer in a city far from his hometown, so receiving a call miles away from home broke his heart. He had hoped he could express the many things he never got to while she was alive. He was close with his mother, but he barely spent time at home once he got employed. His mother lived with his little sister Sharon. Sharon was a few years younger than Eric and still trying to find her way in life. She worked the odd waitressing job but never managed to make anything stick. After his sister expressed their mother's wishes in her will and sent Eric a copy, he was initially shocked to find out that he had not received anything and that everything went to his younger sister. However, the more he gave it thought, the more sense it made to him. Eric had left home a while back, and it had just been the two of them for the longest time. Not to mention, Eric was substantially more financially stable than his sister, so he understood why their mom would leave everything with his sister. The will stated that Sharon was not only to inherit the family home, but also to inherit all their mother's other assets. Eric had made peace with this and expressed it to his sister, who didn't seem too interested in his opinion. As time progressed, Eric learned from one of his real estate friends back home that his old home had popped up on the market. It was going to be destroyed, then sold as land, which was, at that time, of much more value. Eric was baffled and decided to give it a closer look. After some investigating, Eric found out that his sister was indeed demolishing their family home. The news brought Eric to his knees in despair. He couldn't understand why his sister would do such a thing. That was the home they were raised in. It was their treasure. However, Eric had to remind himself that the place was Sharon's to do whatever she willed with it. In that understanding, Eric started thinking of a plan to save his family home and then simply decided to buy it. A few days later, Eric offered Sharon an offer she couldn't refuse. Sharon was so eager to sell the house that it took less than a week to seal the deal. "I'm not sure what's happening. I was hoping you could clear some things for me." Eric hadn't been home in a while, so he figured he'd go to the house and see what exactly could be done with the property. As he approached the property, he was appalled to see its condition. He went inside and saw that things were worse than he had thought. Eric decided to do a couple of renovations to save his childhood home and preserve his mother's memory. He called his friend to see if he could help him get the job done, but his plate was full. Eric decided then and there that it would be his responsibility to overlook the renovations. After the first few days, Eric and his construction team came across something that completely blew Eric's mind. One of his team members brought him a document hidden under his mother's bedroom floor. As Eric inspected it, he realized this was his mother's original will and testament. The original will stated that the property was to be divided equally between Eric and Sharon. Among that will, there appeared to be several forged copy wills. In disbelief of what this revelation could mean, he called his mother's lawyer to get a little more insight into what exactly had happened. "Hi, sir. This is Eric Guinness' son. So, I've found a copy of my mother's original will and some forged copies at the house. I'm not sure what's happening. I was hoping you could clear some things for me," Eric said. As Eric listened to what he heard on the other side of the phone call, his eyes bulged in disbelief. The lawyer was also surprised. He said that Eric's mother's lawyer was another person. Her will was always kept in the house, and after her death, Sharon had brought it herself. Eric was overwhelmed at what he had discovered and decided to question Sharon in person. The next day, they met for dinner under the pretense of a potential business proposal concerning the house. Eric didn't take too long to go into the issue. The minute his sister sat down, he pulled out all the documents. "What's this?" she asked, shocked as she went through the forged will and the original. "You tell me," Eric simply responded. Typical Eric. "I don't know what Mom saw in you." Sharon snapped, throwing the documents in Eric's face in a fit. "So you did this?" Eric asked calmly. "I don't have to answer to you," Sharon said, storming out. Eventually, Eric proved that his sister deceived him and forged a will. Sharon had to return to Eric everything that she dishonestly took possession of. Eric was happy that his sister hadn't sold everything for a quick profit. More than anything, it was important for him to preserve his mother's memory and childhood.